Your boy's back in the studio, and the New England Patriots are back on the practice field for day 3 of training camp. And let me tell you guys, it was a day for the rookies. We're going to break all that down in today's video. What is going on, everybody? It's your boy Colby, also known as Patriots Global, back here with another video. Today, like I mentioned, we're going to be talking about day 3 of New England Patriots training camp, breaking down everything that happened from today's practice. If you guys want to know what happened the first and second day of Patriots training camp, make sure you go ahead and check out my channel here at Patriots Global. And of course, subscribe to the channel if you aren't already for all of your New England Patriots news. Leave a big like on the video because it really does help support us. And hey, if you want to go that extra mile because you're like, you know what, Patriots Global, you're putting in the work, love the channel, I believe in you, make sure you guys go ahead and check out, one, the sponsors of today's video over at Aura. We'll talk about them a little bit later. But two, check out the products below from Fanatics. When you guys do buy them, I make a very small commission off of it. So like I always say, if you're going to get some Patriots merchandise like a Drake Maye jersey or a Patriot shirt, consider doing it with the link in the description box below, because those products below, like I mentioned, it does help out the channel when you guys do check them out. So let's just get into today's video, what you guys have been waiting for. As always, we are going to start with just the general notes before we start breaking down each individual position. So guys that were absent or just not participating, Antonio Gibson back on the list. Now, of course, as we know, Antonio Gibson started training camp on the non-football injury list. He returned back to practice yesterday for day 2, was never actually taken off of the non-football injury list, so we're not too sure what's going on. He was a limited participant yesterday. Today, he's again not practicing, so not too sure what's going on with Antonio Gibson. Like I mentioned, my theory is that there is some type of stomach flu or just illness going around Patriots locker room right now. You have Antonio Gibson potentially dealing with one. You have Christian Barmore dealing with an illness. Like I said yesterday, wouldn't surprise me if there is something currently going around. But then it's Kendrick Bourne, Cole Strange, Jake Andrews, and Sione Takitaki, guys that we already know are going to be out for an extended period of time. Nobody returned to practice other than that, though. Guys who are limited: Demario Douglas, Christian Barmore, Sean Wade, and Marte Mapu. Now, we're not too sure what's going on with Marte Mapu. As for Demario Douglas, Drake Maye was asked about why he has been limited. Is he dealing with some type of injury? All Drake Maye said, though, is that Demario Douglas is not dealing with a serious, and I quote, serious injury. So it sounds like he is dealing with something little. Patriots, of course, want to be very cautious with Demario Douglas. He's going to be a key piece in what they want to do offensively. He's a main piece to what they're going to try to do offensively next year to try to find some type of success. And it's just training camp at the end of the day. There's no need to play him knowing his injury history from last year. It's kind of the reason that the Patriots also didn't play Demario Douglas much in the preseason last year, is because he does have a bit of an injury history. But overall, today, shorts, shells, no pads. As we know, pads will not be thrown on until next week, but practice is ramping up a little bit more and more as each day goes on. But let's go on over here to the quarterbacks. For 11 on 11s, Jacoby Brissett went 5 for 8. Drake Maye went 8 for 11 with his first interception of camp. Wasn't a very good play. It was actually looked like it was supposed to be a screen pass or just a check down. Just gets the ball out a little bit too late, just not on target. Matthew Judon ends up making the interception on Drake Maye. Not something you see very often. In fact, after Matthew Judon got the interception, he runs all the way to the end zone. He's celebrating, and he hangs on to the goalpost. If you've seen it on the Patriots Instagram, you know what I'm talking about. Just example one, while we have to bring Matthew Judon back. But yes, Drake Maye's first interception of training camp so far, and it's really not that bad. I mean, 3 days into training camp, and he's only thrown 1 interception. Really can't complain. Joe Milton was 7 for 10, and Bailey Zappi was 6 for 7. With that being said, The quarterback order is the same as it was yesterday. Bailey Zappi is the last quarterback. Joe Milton has officially beat Bailey Zappi out, and Bailey Zappi is on the outside looking in. I don't know if the Patriots are even going to be able to get anything in terms of trade for Bailey Zappi. He might just be somebody that they end up cutting. Moving on, though, to 7-on-7s, Jacoby Brissett went 9 for 12. Drake Maye was 9 for 13. Joe Milton was 4 for 6. And Bailey Zappi was 5 for 6. Now, moving on to the running backs here, not too much to talk about. And for those of you wondering why we don't get much from the running backs, what you have to keep in mind is that right now, there isn't pads on. So when playing in the trenches or you have the running backs, there's not much to truly take away. Once those pads goes on next week, when they start working specifically on the running game, then there will be more to take away from these backs. But Kevin Harris getting a little bit of an honorable mention today, had a really good run today in 11-on-11s. Again, he's battling right now for that quarterback 3 spot. Who's it, or not quarterback 3, but running back 3 spot. Excuse me. It's JaMycal Hasty right now and Kevin Harris, the battle between who that guy is going to be on the depth chart. But let's move on here to the wide receivers. So moving on to these wide receivers here, one drop today from Juju Smith-Schuster. So far, a very, very quiet camp from him. Nothing really reported. He's not really doing anything. The only news we've gotten about him over the last 3 days is that he dropped the pass. Again, another guy on the outside looking in, not really making a name for himself. Now, Jalynn Polk connected with Drake Maye for a deep connection in 11-on-11s. In fact, let me pull that up for you guys. Now, this is on my Twitter. The New England Patriots posted this themselves. I am tweeting out about news involving the Patriots all the time, dropping highlights, dropping my thoughts, even not just about the Patriots, but just moves around the NFL. So make sure you guys go ahead and do follow my Twitter here over at Patriots Global 2, because apparently Patriots Global 1 was unfortunately taken. But an insane play today, as you guys can see here, from the rookie Jalynn Polk, and it was from Drake Maye. Jalynn Polk is running with this first team offense constantly and consistently, more than Javon Baker is. Javon Baker, he made a play today, which we'll get into, but he made that play with Joe Milton. Every time we hear about Jalynn Polk, or anytime Jalynn Polk is making a play, he's doing it with the first team, and that quarterback is either Drake Maye or Jacoby Brissett here. But as you can see, just an excellent throw, fake handoff there, RPO from Drake Maye, just a ball all the way down the sideline, and a jumping ball rather from Jalynn Polk, who adjusts to make the catch. And that's exactly what you want to see. He gets up, he gets hype, and then you have Hunter Henry going over to him to help him celebrate a little bit. But let's get on here back to the rest of the news about the wide receivers. Now, like I said, Javon Baker, another Patriots rookie, having a day. He made arguably the play of the day. Javon Baker had a 60-yard touchdown. Yes, you heard that right. A 60-yard touchdown on a ball from Joe Milton in 11-on-11s. From what was said, it was a crazy ball by Joe Milton. They said that it looked like the football could have reached the clouds. That's how good it was. But excellent play by Javon Baker, getting behind the defense. Now, of course, not working with the first team defense. Sounds like he was working more so with the second or third team defense. But Javon Baker, like we mentioned, a guy that's going to have to work his way up the depth chart, just like Jalynn Polk had to do. But last thing we heard about these wide receivers is Jalen Reagor had a nice catch on a ball from Drake Maye that was guided in order to protect him from getting hit. Great play by Jalen Reagor, who's been standing out really over the last few days. Right now, if you make your roster, it's hard to keep Jalen Reagor off of your roster, knowing what he's doing in this offense, what he's able to do as a run blocker, but also what he's able to do on special teams. But not just a good play by Jalen Reagor, also a good play by Drake Maye, knowing where exactly to put the ball to prevent your wide receiver from getting hit and putting him in a place where he could potentially get injured. Playing the quarterback position is not just putting the ball where it needs to be, but it's also putting the ball where it needs to be and preventing your guys from getting hurt, something that a lot of quarterbacks fail to do. So really, really good play by not just the wide receiver, but also the quarterback. Let's move on here, though, to the tight ends. Not much to really say. Hunter Henry connected with Drake Maye for multiple good connections today in 7-on-7s. There was no specific plays that were said, just that Hunter Henry, multiple receptions today with Drake Maye. No true surprise there to me. Just a matter of time before Hunter Henry and Drake Maye started that connection. We know that Drake Maye loves to operate in the middle of the field. He likes to operate up the seam. What guy's going to do that most frequently? It's going to be your tight end and Hunter Henry. So definitely glad to see that connection definitely starting to form. Moving on here, though, to the offensive line, and I wish I could say that I was happy about this, but I'm not. We have the third day of camp and a third day of offensive line shuffling. Now, yesterday, you guys would have heard me say that there's a lot of shuffling going on with this offensive line. It seems like right now it's mainly the right tackle position. I mean, it's been a new guy there every single day. They're repping a couple of different guys with the first team offense. But one thing that stayed consistent was a left tackle. Chukwuekorfor over on the left side throughout spring practices, throughout training camp, it was all the same. And it seems like that's what they were sticking to. And that's what I liked. Today, they officially switched that up. Everybody is being switched up except for David Andrews at center, and it is going to bite this team in the butt sooner rather than later if they do not find a consistent O-line. Chukwuekorfor, instead of playing right tackle or a left tackle today, he played right tackle today. As we all know, of course, he played right tackle exclusively with the Pittsburgh Steelers since entering the NFL, but in college he did play left tackle. Caden Wallace played left tackle today with the first team offense. Just not sure at this point what we were doing. It seemed like Chukwuekorfor was the full-time left tackle. When you drafted Caden Wallace, he was a developmental left tackle. During minicamp, the Patriots switched Caden Wallace from playing left tackle over to right tackle. Throughout 2 days of training camp, Caden Wallace was only repping in as a right tackle, and now it looks like the experiment for Caden Wallace at left tackle is officially back. This team just does not know what they're doing with the offensive line. Now, I'm a big fan, of course, of an understanding of the fact that this team is going to see what they have with the offensive line. They're going to try different combinations, but we have not had a consistent offensive line. And yes, of course, I'd rather the team try different offensive line combinations during training camp rather than the regular season. But, we're going to get to a point in a couple of weeks, less than a couple of weeks, where if this team does not figure out what their first team offensive line is going to be and consistently stick with that unit, we are going to have real troubles this upcoming season to the point where it doesn't really matter how good Drake Maye is or how ready he is. You don't throw him into that much of a fire. But let's move on here now to the defense. So starting here with the defensive line, like I mentioned, Matthew Judon with an interception. Matthew Judon, though, also with the sack. Matthew Judon made a play yesterday. I don't know what more Elliott Wolf needs to see from Matthew Judon to say, you know what? You're a big piece to this defense. You're really the face to the franchise currently. You do deserve a contract extension. And I do understand that obviously training camp is much different than the regular season. Pads aren't even on yet. But at the end of the day, if Matthew Judon has been your best player, not even on the defense, but best player, period, why is he not getting an extension? Multiple sacks, an interception in practice so far. He has been the guy performing. I don't know. Maybe we all need to send a message to Elliott Wolf saying sign this guy because it's been clear at this point. But not only did Matthew Judon have a sack, but Dietrich Wise had a sack, Sam Roberts had a sack, and Will Bradley King also had a sack. Juwan Bentley also had a really good day. He had 2 pass breakups from what was said, what was reported. It sounded like they were very physical plays by him. As for these cornerbacks, Christian Gonzalez had a pretty good day. He had a pass breakup. Isaiah Bolden also getting into the mix here. He also had a pass breakup. And then Azizi Hearn, another guy who was standing out. He had a pass breakup today. Christian Gonzalez defended a deep ball attempt really, really well when defending Ja'Lynn Polk. For those asking, no, it was not in the video that you saw. Now, Marcus Jones, he has been a consistent piece within the Patriots defense playing slot cornerback. Now, he forced an incompletion today on a deep ball to Jalen Reagor. Marcus Jones is showing more and more why he needs to be a regular piece to this defense, continuing to make plays. He made a really physical play earlier on in camp. I believe that was on day 1. If you guys, again, want to go ahead and check out that video. But the fact that he has the speed to be able to keep up with somebody like Jalen Reagor, who, might be the fastest receiver that the Patriots have outside of Tyquan Thornton, but also being able to still play physical goes such a long way. He's been really, really good. Now, Marco Wilson, he got some reps today with the starters, and he has become a bigger piece to what the Patriots are doing with their starting defense. It's really going to be a battle. And at this point, honestly, I wonder if it's not really a battle per se between, Marco Wilson and Alex Austin. The battle might just be who the starting perimeter cornerback is and not the battle on who's going to make the roster. I wonder if they keep both of those guys and they just say, we're not going to keep somebody like Sean Wade and we're going to move on from a guy like that. So definitely something to keep watching. But right now, Marco Wilson, Alex Austin, those are the guys rolling with the Patriots first team defense. Didn't get anything here today in terms of safeties, but in special teams, Chad Ryland was the first kicker in team drills to end practice. Chad Ryland also having a really, really good day. He went 4 for 4 on field goals, while Sly went 3 for 4. All of these kicks went from the 30 to 35-yard range. And like I told you guys for a long time now, the Patriots want a guy who's going to be more consistent. It doesn't matter if Chad Ryland can kick from 55 or 60 yards. The Patriots want a guy who's going to be able to kick it within the 40, 45 yards on a regular, most consistent basis. So if that's what Ryland's going to be able to do, then he's going to be able to make the roster. And if he can continue pulling these 4 out of 4 field goal days, then he is definitely going to be in the discussion to make the final roster. And then lastly, your punt returners today were DeMario Douglas, KJ Osborne, Jalen Reagor, and Marcus Jones. Really no switch up from what it's been on the regular. But guys, that is going to wrap up, as I'm still playing the video, but that is going to wrap up day 3 of New England Patriots training camp. What are your guys' thoughts and what are your takeaways here from day 3 and throughout 3 days? What are your thoughts about this team? What are the positive takeaways and what are the concerns? I want to hear from you guys. Let me know in the comment section below. Remember to leave a big like on this video, but most importantly, never forget, go Pats.